All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a feeling that's, well, it's way more common than you'd think, even for super successful people. It's that nagging voice in your head, the one that says you're a total fraud and you're just waiting to be found out.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever gotten a big promotion or totally nailed a project and your first thought isn't, wow, I did it, but oh no, now they're going to figure out I have no idea what I'm doing? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're in the right place. That feeling actually has a name, and just understanding it is the first real step to getting past it.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with what it actually means to feel like a fraud. Then we'll look at the vicious cycle that keeps that feeling going. We'll even dive into some of the common types of imposters. You might see yourself in one of them. And then, the best part, 4 real, powerful strategies to finally break free.
Okay, so first things first. What are we actually talking about here? This is more than just having a little bit of self-doubt now and then. It's a really specific and persistent pattern of thinking.
So here's the official definition. The term imposter phenomenon was actually coined way back in 1978 by 2 psychologists, Pauline Clance and Susanna Imes. And what they noticed was that a lot of high-achieving women they were working with all had this intense feeling of being an intellectual phony. And here's the key. There's this huge disconnect. You have all this external proof, the awards, the good grades, the promotions that you're competent, but inside, you're convinced it was all just an accident.
And you know, if this is hitting close to home for you, you are in really good company. Seriously. Studies suggest that up to 70% of adults will feel this way at some point. So this isn't some rare, strange condition. It's a deeply human experience that can hit anyone, no matter how successful they are.
So how does this actually pop up in real life? Well, it can look like a lot of different things. Maybe you dismiss a huge win by saying, oh, I just got lucky, or the timing was good. Or maybe you're the person who spends hours and hours over-preparing for a simple presentation because you're terrified someone will ask a question you can't answer. You see the pattern, right? All these behaviors come from that deep-seated fear of being seen as not good enough, even when all the evidence says otherwise.
Now, here's what's so tricky about this whole thing. These feelings, they create this self-perpetuating habit. It's not a one-time thing. It's a cycle that actually traps you. Let's break down exactly how it works.
So it all starts with a new challenge, a new project, a new role, and that immediately kicks off a ton of anxiety and self-doubt. To deal with that anxiety, you do one of 2 things. You either over-prepare, working way harder than you need to, or you procrastinate and then have to pull an all-nighter. And you know what? You succeed. But, and this is the trap, you don't let yourself feel that success. You tell yourself, well, I only pulled it off because I worked myself into the ground, or pew, I got lucky that time. You brush off any praise, and the relief you feel is super short-lived, because the next challenge comes along, and boom, the whole cycle starts right back up again, just making that fraud feeling even stronger.
Okay, what's really fascinating is that this feeling doesn't look the same for everyone. Dr. Valerie Young, who's a leading expert on this, actually identified 5 common ways it shows up, 5 archetypes. And figuring out which pattern fits you best can be a real aha moment. So, do any of these sound familiar? You've got the perfectionist who believes anything less than 100% perfect is a total failure. Then there's the natural genius who feels like if they have to work hard at something, it means they're not really good at it. We have the expert who's terrified of starting anything until they know every single detail. The soloist believes they have to do everything themselves because asking for help is a sign of weakness. And finally, the superperson, who feels like they have to be absolutely crushing it in every single area of their life. Work, family, friends, all of it. All at the same time.
So, after hearing all of that, I want to land on the most important point, the good news. Imposter syndrome, at its core, is just a pattern of unhelpful thoughts. It's a thinking trap. And because it's a pattern you've learned, it's a pattern you can absolutely unlearn. You really do have the power to change it.
So how do we actually do that? How do we escape the trap? We're going to get into 4 very real, evidence-based strategies that can literally help you rewire your brain, challenge those old thought patterns, and start building some genuine, lasting confidence.
All right, here's our toolkit. We're going to talk about something called cognitive restructuring, which is all about changing your thoughts. Then we'll cover self-compassion, which is about changing how you treat yourself. We'll also dive into adopting a growth mindset, and finally, the incredible power of peer support. Okay, first up, cognitive restructuring. This is a classic technique from cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, and it's all about one thing, learning to separate your feelings from the cold, hard facts. You take that automatic thought, that I'm terrible at this thought, and you basically put it on trial. You ask yourself, okay, where's the actual evidence for this? And then you consciously, intentionally,
Replace it with something more balanced and realistic. It's not about being falsely positive, it's just about being accurate. Our second strategy is self-compassion. And this one's simple question is maybe one of the most powerful tools there is. The next time you're really beating yourself up over a mistake, just stop and ask yourself, what would I say to my best friend if they were going through this exact same thing? Chances are you'd offer kindness, support, and some much-needed perspective. The whole goal here is to learn how to turn that same kindness back on yourself.
Researcher Dr. Kristen Neff breaks self-compassion down into these 3 core ideas. First, there's self-kindness. That's actively being gentle with yourself instead of judgmental. Then there's common humanity, which is just reminding yourself that struggling and being imperfect doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're human. And finally, mindfulness, which is about noticing your negative feelings without letting them completely take over. All 3 together create this incredible buffer against that harsh inner critic.
All right, number 3 is all about cultivating a growth mindset. A person with a fixed mindset believes their skills are just set in stone. You're either good at something or you're not. So when they fail, it feels like a final verdict on their ability. But someone with a growth mindset, they believe that their abilities can be developed through hard work and learning. So a setback isn't a verdict, it's just data. It's a chance to ask, okay, that didn't work. What can I learn from this? This shift in perspective is an absolute game changer for building resilience.
And last but not least, please do not underestimate the power of talking to other people. Seriously, imposter syndrome thrives in isolation. It wants you to believe that you're the only one on the planet who feels this way. But the moment you open up to a trusted friend or a colleague, you shatter that illusion. You find out you're not alone, which immediately makes the feeling less powerful. Plus, when you hear other people reflect your own successes back to you, it helps you finally start to believe them yourself.
So, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Your skills, your accomplishments, your successes, they are not accidents. They happened because of your hard work, your talent, and your grit. The goal isn't to become some perfect, flawless person. It's just to start seeing yourself as accurately and as kindly as you see the people around you. So, I'll leave you with this question. What's one small thing you can do, starting today, to begin owning your achievements?